God says, before today ends, you need this message. You almost kept scrolling. Your thumb was already moving. Your mind was already somewhere else. But something stopped you. Not something, someone. And you felt it, didn't you? That subtle pull. That quiet whisper beneath the noise of your day that said, wait. Stop. Listen. You're here because this message has your name on it. Not in some vague, mass-produced way. I mean, it was written into the fabric of this very moment, woven into the thread of your story before you even woke up this morning. And before today ends, before the sun sets and you lay your head down tonight, you need to hear what God is saying. Because there are words that carry weight beyond tomorrow. There are moments when heaven leans in close, when the veil grows thin, and when God interrupts our chaos not with a shout, but with a whisper that changes everything. This is one of those moments. You've been carrying something heavy, haven't you? Maybe for days. Maybe for months. Maybe so long you've forgotten what it feels like to not carry it. You've been moving through your routines, waking up, going through the motions, smiling when you're supposed to, answering, "I'm fine," when people ask. But underneath it all, there's been this weight. This exhaustion. This quiet ache that you can't quite name but can't quite ignore either. And maybe you've been praying. Or maybe you stopped praying because it started to feel like shouting into a void. Maybe you've been asking God for something specific, something you need so desperately it keeps you awake at night. Or maybe you've just been asking Him to show up, to make Himself real again, to remind you that you're not as alone as you feel. Today, He's answering. Not the way you expected. Not with the big, dramatic sign you've been hoping for. But with this. With a word that will meet you exactly where you are, in the weariness and the wondering, and it will do something you didn't think was possible anymore. It will make you hope again. But you have to listen. All the way through. Because the enemy of your soul knows what's about to shift, and he's already whispering that this doesn't apply to you, that you've heard it all before, that nothing ever really changes. Don't believe him. Not today. You didn't stumble onto this message by accident. You were led here. And before today ends, you'll know why. There's a question buried somewhere in the book of Psalms that every human being has asked at some point in their life. It's raw. It's honest. It's the kind of prayer that doesn't get prayed out loud in church but gets whispered in the dark when no one else is listening. How long, O Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day? That's Psalm 13, verses 1 and 2. And if you've ever felt forgotten by God, you're in good company. David wrote that. The same David who killed a giant, who danced before the Lord, who was called a man after God's own heart. And yet, there were seasons in his life where he felt completely abandoned. Where the silence of heaven was so loud it was deafening. Maybe you've been in one of those seasons. Maybe you're in one right now. You've been waiting for something to break open. A door to open. A relationship to heal. A financial breakthrough. A health report that finally brings good news. You've been praying and believing and doing everything you know to do, and yet nothing seems to be moving. The silence has stretched out so long that you've started to wonder if God even hears you anymore. Here's what I need you to understand: God's delays are not His denials. His silence is not His absence. And the waiting you've been in hasn't been wasted. Every single day you've endured, every single prayer you've whispered through tears, every single moment you chose to keep believing when everything in you wanted to quit, all of it has been working something in you that couldn't have been formed any other way. You've been in a season of preparation. And you've hated it. Because preparation doesn't feel productive. It feels like delay. It feels like punishment. It feels like you're being held back while everyone else is moving forward. But God doesn't see it that way. He sees what's coming. He sees what you're about to step into. And He knows that the version of you from 6 months ago, from a year ago, from whenever this season started, that version of you wasn't ready for what He's about to release. Not because you weren't good enough. Not because you didn't have enough faith. But because the weight of the blessing would have crushed the foundation you were standing on. So He's been building something in you. Strengthening something. Refining something. And I know it hasn't felt like that. I know it's felt like abandonment, like testing, like maybe you did something wrong and this is your consequence. But that's not what this has been. For your son, support by giving a super thanks up to $100, as a simple act of faith and gratitude. Not by pressure, but by love, saying, Lord, I believe this word and I receive it. This has been preparation. And today, before today ends, you're going to start seeing why it had to happen this way. There's something you need to understand about time. The Greeks had 2 words for it. Chronos and kairos. Chronos is the time you see on a clock. Minutes, hours, days. It's chronological. Linear. Predictable. But kairos is different. Kairos is God's time. It's the appointed moment. The exact right second when heaven and earth collide and something shifts that could only shift in that moment. You've been living in Chronos, watching the clock, counting the days, wondering when God is finally going to move. But God has been working in Kairos. He's been orchestrating something behind the scenes, aligning pieces you can't even see, preparing a moment that's been marked on heaven's calendar since before you were born. And that moment is closer than you think. There's a verse in Isaiah 55, verse 6, that says, "Seek the Lord while He may be found, call upon Him while He is near." Most people read that and think it's about evangelism, about getting saved before it's too late. But there's something deeper there. It's about timing. It's about recognizing when God is near, when He's extending an invitation, when He's opening a window that won't stay open forever. Not because God is playing games with you. Not because He's trying to manipulate you into some kind of urgent response. But because your heart has seasons. Your spirit has seasons. And there are moments when you are more ready to receive something than you will be tomorrow, or next week, or next month. This is one of those moments. Before today ends, there's something God wants to give you. Not a thing. Not a miracle, though that may come too. What He wants to give you is clarity. Perspective. A shift in understanding that will reframe everything you've been walking through. But here's the thing about Kairos moments, they require response. They require you to be present. To be open. To lay down your cynicism and your disappointment and your exhaustion just long enough to hear what He's actually saying. Because some of you are going to hear this tomorrow. You're going to scroll past this today, and it's going to pop back up in your feed next week, and you'll finally click on it then. And you'll hear the same words. But you won't hear them the same way. The window in your heart that's open right now, the tenderness, the readiness, the desperation that made you stop scrolling in the first place, it won't be the same. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm trying to wake you up to the fact that God is speaking right now, in this moment, and if you miss it, you don't just miss information. You miss encounter. So if you're feeling resistance right now, if something in you is saying, this is too dramatic, or I've heard this before, or this doesn't really apply to me, I need you to recognize that voice for what it is. It's not wisdom. It's not discernment. It's fear. It's the part of you that's been disappointed so many times that it's built walls around your heart to keep you from hoping again. And I get it. I understand why you do that. Hope is dangerous when you've been hurt. But you know what's more dangerous? Living the rest of your life with those walls up, never letting God in close enough to heal what's been broken. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Just for the next few minutes, just while you're listening to this, lower the walls. Let yourself be open. Let yourself believe that maybe, just maybe, God has something for you today that you didn't have yesterday. Because He does. Here's what God is saying to you right now. And I'm not saying this lightly. I'm not throwing words around to sound prophetic or deep. I'm telling you what the Spirit of God is speaking over your life in this very moment. He's saying, I haven't forgotten you. I know you've felt forgotten. I know there have been nights when you've laid in bed and wondered if God even knows your name anymore, if He's moved on to someone else, someone more faithful, someone more deserving. But that's a lie. And today, before today ends, you need to reject that lie once and for all. God hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't moved on. He hasn't given up. And the very fact that you're hearing this message right now is proof of that. Because He led you here. He orchestrated this moment. He knew you needed to hear this today, and He made sure you did. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not too far gone, too broken, too messy, too late. You are seen. You are known. And you are deeply, fiercely loved. Here's the second thing He's saying, the delay was protection. You've been angry about the waiting. Maybe you haven't said it out loud. Maybe you've kept it buried under layers of faith and positivity. But it's been there. This quiet resentment toward God for not coming through when you needed Him to. For not opening the door when you were knocking. For not answering the prayer when you were begging. And today, He wants you to know, the delay wasn't denial. It was protection. There are things you've been asking for that would have destroyed you if you'd gotten them when you first asked. There are doors you've been trying to walk through that would have led you into bondage, not freedom. There are relationships you've been crying over that God closed because He saw what you couldn't see. There are opportunities you've been chasing that would have taken you off course, away from the path He's been preparing for you. The delay wasn't punishment. It was mercy. And I know that's hard to hear, especially if you're still in the middle of the waiting. But there's a story in Genesis that proves this. You know the story of Joseph. Favored son, dreamer, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison, forgotten by the people he helped. 13 years of waiting. 13 years of wondering if God's promises were real or if He'd just imagined the whole thing. But Genesis 50 verse 20 tells us how the story ends. Joseph, now second in command of Egypt, looks at his brothers, the ones who betrayed him, and says, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." The delay wasn't the absence of God. It was the hand of God. It was God positioning Joseph in the exact right place, at the exact right time, to save not just his family but entire nations from famine. And if Joseph had gotten what he wanted when he wanted it, none of that would have happened. The same is true for you. The thing you thought broke you was actually breaking you open. The season you thought was wasted was actually the most productive season of your life, because God was doing surgery on your soul. He was removing things that didn't belong. He was building things that needed to be built. He was preparing you for something you're about to step into that requires a version of you that didn't exist until now. And here's the third thing He's saying. What's coming required you to become who you are now. You're not the same person you were when this season started. You know that, right? You've been changed. Shaped. Refined. You've learned things about yourself, about God, about faith that you couldn't have learned any other way. You've developed strength you didn't know you had. You've discovered a kind of trust in God that doesn't depend on circumstances, that doesn't waver when things don't make sense. And that version of you, the one who's been forged in the fire of this waiting season, that's the version of you that God can trust with what's next. Because what's next is big. Bigger than you've imagined. And it's not just about you. It's about the people your story is going to touch. It's about the testimony you're going to carry. It's about the way God is going to use everything you've been through to bring hope to someone else who's in the middle of their own waiting season. But before today ends, there's something you need to do. Because this isn't just about receiving a word. It's about responding to it. James 1 verse 22 says, "Be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves." You can listen to this entire message, you can feel something stir in your spirit, you can even agree with everything that's being said. But if you don't do something with it, nothing changes. So here's what God is asking you to do before today ends. And this is specific. This is not vague. This is not something you can put off until you feel ready. First, release one thing you've been holding. Maybe it's bitterness towards someone who hurt you. Maybe it's control over a situation you've been trying to force. Maybe it's a dream that God is asking you to lay down so He can give you something better. Maybe it's resentment toward Him for the way things have unfolded. Whatever it is, you know what it is. You felt it the moment I said it. And before today ends, you need to release it. Not because you're strong enough to let it go on your own, but because you're going to ask God to take it from you. You're going to open your hands, and you're going to say, I can't carry this anymore. I don't want to carry this anymore. I'm giving it to you. Second, receive one thing He's been offering. God has been trying to give you something, but your hands have been too full to receive it. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's a new identity, not based on what you do or what you've accomplished, but based on who He says you are. Maybe it's provision. Maybe it's clarity about the next step. You know what it is. And before today ends, you need to stop striving and just receive it. Not because you earned it. Not because you finally did enough to deserve it. But because He's offering it, and all He's asking you to do is take it. Third, respond in one way before midnight. This isn't about works. This isn't about proving anything. But there's something God has already shown you that you need to do, and you've been putting it off. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have. Maybe it's forgiveness you need to extend. Maybe it's obedience in something that seems small but is actually the key to everything else. You know what it is. And tonight, before you go to sleep, you're going to do it. Not perfectly. Not with all the answers. Just in simple obedience. Because here's the truth, tomorrow, the grace for this specific obedience may not feel the same. You'll still be able to do it. But the ease, the clarity, the stirring in your spirit that's happening right now, that's the grace of this moment. And if you let this moment pass, you'll be working harder to do tomorrow what would have been easier to do today. Luke 9 verse 23 says, If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Daily. Not eventually. Not when it's convenient. Daily. Today. And I know some of you are feeling resistance right now. You're feeling doubt creeping back in. You're feeling that familiar voice that says, this sounds good, but it won't really change anything. You've tried before. You've believed before. And nothing happened. I need you to hear me on this. That voice is not coming from you, and it's certainly not coming from God. That's the enemy of your soul making one last attempt to disqualify this word before it takes root in your heart. Ephesians 6 verse 12 says, We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. There is a battle happening right now over your life. Not a physical battle. A spiritual one. And the closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the resistance becomes. The enemy doesn't fight for people who are already defeated. He fights for people who are about to break free. So if you're feeling doubt, if you're feeling distraction, if you're feeling the urge to click away right now, that's not random. That's spiritual warfare. And the very fact that you're experiencing it is proof that you're on the verge of something significant. Some of you have heard words from God before and didn't act. You felt the stirring, you sensed the invitation, but you waited. You wanted more confirmation. You wanted it to feel less risky. And you watched the window close. You watched the opportunity pass. And you've carried regret about that ever since. Today doesn't have to be another one of those moments. I'm not condemning you. I'm not shaming you. I'm just telling you the truth in love. There is a cost to delayed obedience. Not because God punishes you, but because timing matters in the kingdom. There are seasons when certain doors are open, and if you don't walk through them, they close. Not forever, but for that season. Hebrews 3 verse 15 says, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts." Today. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel more ready. Not when you have all the answers. Today. Because here's what some of you have been doing. You've been waiting for a bigger sign. You've been waiting for God to write it in the sky, to send an angel, to make it so undeniably clear that you have no choice but to believe. But what if He already gave you the sign? What if the fact that you're hearing this message right now, the fact that something in your spirit is responding to these words, the fact that you feel tears forming even though you're trying to hold them back, what if that's the sign? What if God has been speaking all along, and you've just been dismissing it because it didn't come in the package you expected? I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to feel what's happening in your chest right now. That tightness. That stirring. That sense that something is shifting even though nothing around you has changed yet. That's the presence of God. That's Him confirming that this word is for you, that this moment matters, that you were meant to hear this today. And something is changing in you right now. Something is breaking off. Something is breaking open. You may not be able to name it yet. You may not be able to explain it. But you feel it. And when you walk away from this message, you're going to be different than you were when you started listening. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 2 says, "Behold, now is the favorable time, behold, now is the day of salvation." Now. Not later. Not someday. Now. This is your Kairos moment. This is the appointed time when God is near, when the veil is thin, when your heart is tender enough to receive what He's been trying to give you. And before today ends, you're going to close one chapter and open another. Not because all your problems disappear. Not because suddenly everything makes sense. But because your posture changes. Your perspective shifts. You stop living like a victim of your circumstances and start living like a child of God who knows that He's working all things together for good. Romans 12 verse 2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Transformation happens in the mind first. It happens when you stop agreeing with the lies you've been believing and start agreeing with what God says about you, about your situation, about your future. And today, your mind is being renewed. Today, you're being transformed. Not by your effort. Not by your willpower. But by the Word of God that's being spoken over your life in this moment. You are not the same person who started listening to this message. You now carry something you didn't carry before. You now know something you didn't know before. And you can't unknow it. You can't unhear it. You now carry responsibility. Because when God speaks, He doesn't speak just to inform you. He speaks to activate you. He speaks to commission you. He speaks to release something in you that's been dormant, that's been buried, that's been waiting for permission to come alive. And before you sleep tonight, you need to respond to Him. Not with a performance. Not with a religious formula. But with honesty. With surrender. With a simple, "Okay, God. I hear you. I don't have all the answers. I don't know how this is going to work out. But I trust you. And I'm saying yes." Talk to Him like He's in the room. Because He is. Tell Him what you've been afraid to say out loud. Tell Him what you've been carrying. Tell Him what you've been hoping for. And then listen. Not for an audible voice. But for that still, small voice in your spirit that confirms what you already know deep down. He's with you. He hasn't left you. And what's coming next is going to prove that every single day of the waiting was worth it. You were meant to hear this today. Not by accident. Not by coincidence. You were led here. This moment was marked on heaven's calendar before you even knew you needed it. And here's the truth that's going to carry you through whatever comes next. What happens from here isn't up to chance. It's not up to luck. It's not even up to how perfect your faith is or how well you execute the next step. It's up to obedience. It's up to you taking the simple step God has already shown you. It's up to you releasing what He's asked you to release, receiving what He's offered, and responding in the small, specific way He's already whispered to your heart. Joshua 1 verse 9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Be strong. Be courageous. Not because you have it all figured out, but because He's with you. And some of you are going to dismiss this message the moment it ends. You're going to feel the stirring fade, the emotion settle, and you're going to convince yourself it was just a good message but nothing more. And that's your choice. I can't make you believe. I can't make you respond. But some of you are going to act. Some of you are going to take this word seriously. Some of you are going to do exactly what God has asked you to do before today ends. And your testimony is going to be undeniable. Your breakthrough is going to be so clear, so evident, so marked by the hand of God that no one will be able to deny it was Him. And when that happens, you're going to look back on this moment, this exact moment right now, and you're going to remember. You're going to remember that this was the day something shifted. This was the day you stopped waiting for a sign and recognized that you'd already been given one. This was the day you stopped living in Chronos and stepped into Kairos. Before today ends, look up. Not metaphorically. Actually look up. Lift your eyes. And thank Him. Thank Him for not giving up on you. Thank Him for the delay that protected you. Thank Him for the waiting that prepared you. Thank Him for this word that found you exactly when you needed it. And then take the next step He's already shown you. You know what it is. Do it.